Okay, Ji. So today we are going to have a master class, and let me give you a small and brief idea about what we are going to cover in this session. So basically, this master class is meant for having the discussion regarding why the students in PM are failing and why the average pass rate is going down. What are the reasons? What are the expectations of the examiner that we have to understand so that we can pass this paper in first attempt? Even though there are some students, probably there might be some students who are attempting or who are re-attempting this paper for example, like once or the twice. So this session is for the students who are struggling with the ACCA PM or who want to know how to pass this paper in first attempt. So I start my discussion from my introduction first. So my name is Inam Rahim, and by qualification I'm an ACCA. And with this, I also completed the USCMA from the USA, and also FMBA, and I'm also continuing with the CFA program. So I'm the lead instructor for professional courses like ACCA, CMA USA, CA Pakistan, and the ICAW. And with this, I'm also working as a CEO and the founder of Accountancy Private Limited. So having a teaching and training experience more than 18 years, where I taught many of the ACCA students in Pakistan and also abroad. So with this, I also have worked with different in different industries. Like I have worked with a bank, I have worked for the textile sector, and in Mauritius, I have taught the students for more than 10 years, and my students of the ACCA were ranked number one for 5 times, particularly in this subject of ACCA PM. So it was a nationwide position, not international position, but I feel very proud to say that I have produced top affiliate in Mauritius and also the prize winners and also the number one position holders for the ACCA PM paper and also for the other papers like FM and also the SPL paper and also the advanced performance management. So this was my brief introduction, and today we are going to talk about why the students are failing, why they are struggling, particularly in the section C, and what are the expectations examiner is having from the students, particularly for the section C, and what he looks into the students, where we have to meet the expectation of the examiner. So today, after this session, I can easily say that you probably be thinking from the head of the examiner, and you will be looking for the exam from his perspective, and you will try your best to meet his expectation and pass the exam in the first attempt. So today we will talk about the exam and the myth behind the paper PM, and then we'll talk about how you lose the marks or where you lose the marks actually, and what are the biggest mistakes you have for the paper PM. And after that, we'll talk about how you're going to do the time management for this paper, and after that, what are the golden rules to pass this paper in first attempt. So first of all, we need to understand about the structure of the paper PM. We have 3 sections, section A, section B, and the section C. Section A, we have objective test questions, 15 objective test questions we get, and total marks are 30 marks. And these questions can be tested from anywhere from our syllabus. So we cannot target that these number of questions will be coming from the section A, section B, or the section C or D. So we have to overall prepare the whole lot. We have to prepare or we have to complete the whole syllabus, by the way, to attempt this section A. Then after that, we have the section B. Section B, we have 3 case-based questions, and 10 of each we get the marks, and total we will getting 30 marks. So in total, we'll get 5 OT questions Basically, we'll have three main case questions, and with that, we will have five OT cases. So this can be the choice of the examiner. If he wants to set a question from the section A or the section B or the section D or C. So wherever he wants to set a question, so he can easily set it for you. After that, we have the section C. This is basically going to set the destiny actually for the ACCA to make you pass, or the examiner to make you pass or to fail. What I usually say. And in our discussion today, we will be mostly focusing on the C section, how to attempt it perfectly. And with this, we will not be able to ignore the section A and the section B. So the examiner, if you look at the examiner comments, which is published after every attempt, so you will see that there are a lot of comments examiner put for the mistakes or the good things or the bad things about the students, that the students have not ideally attempted the question. So our discussion, as I mentioned to you, that will be mostly focusing on attempting and securing 40 marks, and this as I mentioned to you, this is going to be helping us to pass the exam. So first of all, we talk about mostly the students think about like this paper is only about learning and applying the formulas. So there are so many formulas, sometimes students complain. When I teach students, I get many complaints from the students like, sir, there are a lot of formulas to memorize. So all of those formulas we have to apply in the paper. So students, you will be getting some of the questions, some of the formulas you will be getting in the paper. Examiner tells you to memorize those formulas, but it's most about, like in this paper PM, you have to not only apply the formulas, you have to understand about the thinking side also. You have to understand about what is being examined and how to answer that, what is being tested, and how to basically attempt that, your thinking, your mindset in the real life. So the reality is about, you have to apply the formulas, you have to apply the knowledge, particularly the technical knowledge, what you have gathered from reading the books, from reading the study notes, or from reading it from the study hub. So you have to understand about this paper is application-based paper. It's not about memorization, it's about application. Second thing is that you have to analyze the situation, particularly when you are in the section B or you are in the section C. So examiner give you different cases to handle. And you have to understand the scenario. You have to analyze the situation given to you. So this is the second thing that you have to keep in your mind when you are attempting the PM paper. The third one is that you have to evaluate the situation. You have to analyze. After analyzing, you have to evaluate whether it is going to be beneficial for the company, what you apply, whether it is going to be adding value for the business, whether it is going to add value for the management or for the CEO, or whether it is going to help the senior management to take the right decisions for the business. So I usually say that you have to think from the mindset of the management. It's not about like you are just a junior or you are the clerk in a business and you are just doing the routine work. So you are not going to doing the routine work. By the way, you are going to helping the management and to understand the situation and to give them some ideas or to help them to take a decisions what is good for the business and what is not. So the first thing that we have to clear when we are studying this paper is it's not about only memorizing the formulas. After that, we talk about the difference of the students who pass the paper just, or those students who are the typical students, and the students who are the top students. So I have divided it into the three categories. So students basically in the paper PM, they fail because they don't know how to apply the knowledge into the real life. So this is very important. So you must understand it to apply the knowledge, and you have to know how to climb up in this pyramid. So first we talk about the typical student. What is the typical mindset of the student when we are studying the paper PM? It's about like, okay, you just go through the study text, you go through the study hub, and that will promise to pass the exam. It's not the case. Then we have the second type of the students who just want to get pass in the paper. And to pass, to get into the list of passing, so you must understand that how you're going to use your knowledge into the scenario or the situation which is given to you. So the students who pass, it is being observed, and it was also being discussed by the examiner team, that those students who just pass, they know the scenario, they know the situation, and they apply the knowledge. And the third categories of those students who are the top students, which the examiner expect from you to have. The top students are those students who know, who evaluate the business basically, who understand the business model, who understand about the logic, who understand about how to analyze the situation and to add the value for the examiner. So the students, when you observe, the students are getting top in the list, or those who are the position holder, worldwide position holder for the PM. So basically they understand the business very well, they understand the business model very well, and they also add value for the examiner, like they think out of the box. Fine, so 3 in the list we have typical mindset students, passing students, and the third one is the top students. So if you want to cross just the passing line, so you must have to know how to apply the knowledge and how to add value for the top management in their decision making. So this is very important to understand. Then we talk about where the students lose the marks. So if in the paper you just apply your knowledge, so examiner will going to give you the marks for that. But mostly the students, they are lacking in application, lacking in analysis, and lacking in evaluation of the situation. Okay, so analysis, application, and evaluation, where you get the marks, by the way. So examiner is expecting, I have also written on the right side, like the examiner wants, tell me what it means for the management. So if you tell them that what it is meaning for the management, examiner is going to definitely give you the marks for that. And he is not only looking for that you have the basic knowledge of the things. He will give you the marks, but he is not going to make you pass for the paper because you're lacking in application, you're lacking in analysis, or you're lacking in the evaluation. So this is very, very important. What the examiner has commented very, very, in many times he has commented that I look for in the students, like he must know application, analysis, and evaluation. Then the mistakes the examiner is highlighting in his comment is ignoring the scenario. This is one of the fatal mistake you have. So for example, like the student answer for a balanced scorecard model, and he says that the balanced scorecard measures the performance. So actually, it is the case so. Balanced scorecard helps us in measuring the performance financially and the non-financially. But if you look into from the mind of the examiner, he says that, okay, what next? So what you will do with this actually? You're just explaining me what is the meaning of balanced scorecard, but what is next with that? So he has also highlighted like the student who get the high score, so his answer will be different. And if you look at the answer, what examiner is posting is the customer perspective matters because customer retention has fallen. Now what you need to do, you need to analyze the scenario, you need to analyze the situation, and you have to extract the information from there that the customer's retention has fallen. Probably this was a situation in the scenario which was given. But unfortunately we ignore that scenario, we don't understand the situation. So ultimately we just write the basics. So he says that the customer perspective matters because customer retention has fallen and the management needs to identify the reasons of declining their loyalty. So why the customers are decreasing, what was the reason, and what you can do with that. If your customers are not able to retain by the company, so what actions you can suggest actually to the company to retain them. So this is one of the good example. Examiner says that from this what I mean for to pass the paper, to help you to pass the exam. Then the other is, that is the second mistake the examiner is highlighting, is that, for example, like for the variance question, you get 50,000 favorable variance and it was a sale price variance. And you just mentioned, you're commenting, okay, I've calculated the variance above in my Excel file, or my table shows that the variance is favorable. And that's it. So what examiner wants from you? The examiner wants that, okay, fine, you have calculated the variance, but why did it happen? Why you get this variance of favorable? And what was the reason behind it? And whether this favorable variance is sustainable? Is it going to be long lasting? Or what further actions you can do to strengthen it or to make it more, like it appears for the upcoming years? So what actions are required, whether it is sustainable, what it causes, and why did it happen? So you have to explain this into the question. So again, I would say that analysis is there. You have to analyze it. You have to evaluate it. And you have to recommend the action, what next you can do. Okay? This is very, very important mistake what the examiner is highlighting. Then we have the four, like for the variance question again, we say that, when we are talking about the variances or we are analyzing the situation or the scenarios, so we need to understand the four steps basically. The first one is the result, what you are getting the results, what you are getting the answer of the variance. Second is what was the cause of the variance, why it happened. Third one is what was the impact of that variance onto the business. And the fourth one is what next, what the management should do. So in the fourth step, if you look at what I have highlighted here, is that you are going to be in the advisory role basically for the management. So this is one of the things that we have to clearly understand. This is the main difference of the ACCA skills level papers. If you compare it with the knowledge level papers, at that level, you just get the basic knowledge. You don't apply the knowledge into the scenarios or the situations. Or you don't talk about the actions. You don't talk about the reasons. You don't talk about the impact on the business. So here in the skills level paper, you must, for any of the situation, I am not saying that it is only for the variance. You have to apply these four steps for any of the question that is being tested, particularly in the section C. Okay. So first, results. Look at the answers, what you are getting. Second, what is it is causing. Third, impact, and the fourth, action. Okay. Now, reading the requirement. This is very important. It is the third mistake the examiner is highlighting, that the student don't understand about the requirement. If I ask you evaluate the performance, so you're giving me the definition. For example, like you defining the KPIs. So here again, if you understand the requirement first and you answer that student, answer the question in the right way by analyzing the situation, by analyzing the scenario, so you will not going to lose the marks. But if you don't understand it, then it will be a problem for the student to pass the exam. So this is also highlighted by the examiner. This is the fatal mistake of the students. Then the examiner says that the students give me the generic recommendation. They give the recommendations. For example, like the student is saying we have to improve the performance. But if you look into the strong side of the strong recommendation, if the examiner, what he is expecting from you is management should investigate labor idle time and redesign production scheduling. Again, you can see here, the examiner is asking you to add the value for him. So give me the recommendation, and it should be recommendation again relevant with the scenario. Okay. So it should be specific, it should be practical, and it should be scenario based. So remember that whenever you are giving your recommendations to the higher management, he says you must have three things into that. First one is don't be general. Give the specific to that particular situation. Answer should be specific. Recommendation should be specific. Second is it should be a practical advice. And this is where the students lack in, because most of the students are not working when they are studying the PM paper. So, and they don't know about the practical side. And most of the students say, sir, we are not in the practice, so how come we can give the answer in a practical way? So student, it depends on your understanding, it depends on the situation in the discussion, what you're getting in the classes with your teacher, with your mentor. So if your mentor is in the practice, he's working as a management guy in the company, so he will definitely be discussing with you and he is going to help you in answering the question in a practical way. And also the other side, which you can overcome this practical issue, is that you read the examiner, model answers, and that will give you the sense of practicality. And the third thing, what he's highlighting is, for the recommendation side, is it should be situation based, it should be scenario based. So three things have to be memorized when you are giving the recommendation to the higher management. After that, we talk about 10 most important mark killers that we have to avoid. And this is the list which you have to keep it in the mind whenever you are studying for the PM or you're going for an exam. The first thing is that ignoring the scenario. Don't ignore it. Second, formula. You have to, sometimes the students, they just memorize the formula, but they don't know what the formula is telling them. Third one is evaluation is weak. Then generic answer, poor interpretation, weak conclusion. You are concluding the things, you give the conclusion, but it's weak. It's not inspiring basically. Then you don't know about the verbs, action verbs. Then the other problem highlighted is the time management. Some of the students, they don't even complete the exam, particularly the section C. They leave it blank, or sometimes they attempt it halfway and then they finish the exam. And then most of the students think about, like, by memorization we'll be able to pass the exam. So these 10 mistakes you have to avoid in the paper. Then the very important point, what at the 8th number, you can see the 7th number, what the killer side is, that ignoring the command verbs. This is where the students, when they write in the C section, what are the action verbs and what the examiner expects from you, you must understand it. The first one is identify. When the examiner says that identify means what? Like, you have to name it, you have to identify the reason. For example, you have to find out the main reason behind the issues. Then it should be basically, identification is not like you are writing so much about identification, you have identified so many things. It's not about that. You have to identify the main core reason of the issues with the company. Second is explanation. Explanation refers to, like, say why. And here most of the students do the mistake, like when he's asking to explain something, so you write bullet points about that. So this is also, it means that you're not able to understand the action verbs. And the third one is discuss. Discuss is basically, it gives you more marks if you compare it with the identification. So particularly you might get more than 2 marks for this discussion. And here you have to discuss, or you have to sometimes recommend, you have to discuss in detail about the pros and cons of some of the situation. And the last one is analyze. Analyze means what? Analyze means that you will use the numbers, what you have calculated, and those numbers has to be compared with something, and then you have to tell what is your verdict about that. What is basically, what are the insights of the situation you are having, and then what can be good, what can be wrong after your analysis. So this is very important. Like, if you want to decode the paper PM, and you want to gain the marks, but you must understand about these action verbs. And also, don't write too much. Look at the identification. How many marks are there for the identification? How many marks are for the explanation? How many marks are for the discussion? So, and how many marks are there for the analysis? So you have to remember that for each action verb there will be different marks which are allocated by the examiner. So this is very important that you have to memorize these action verbs and you must understand the meaning behind it. Then section A and the section B, we were talking mostly about the section C. And what about the section A and the section B? Section A is as I mentioned to you, there are 15 OT questions which can come up from any of the sections. So you have to do your level best to attempt all the 15 OT cases. And if you are having some confusion or you are having some time constraint, so you can use your guesswork here. I usually say that when you are using the guesswork, so eliminate the wrong situation, eliminate the wrong options first, and then you try to choose the best one. So you can say that it is one of the area which you cannot overlook even, because you might get some easy marks or you might be getting some easy marks in a way that there are some theoretical questions which are being asked. So examiner usually put, to make you pass, examiner helps you in putting some of the theoretical questions, rather all the numerical questions in the section A. And theoretical questions are easy to attempt as comparison with the section with the numerical questions. Because you don't need to calculate the figures, you don't need to interpret the results, so you just look at the theoretical side and you can easily get the marks. And it will also be taking lesser time. But for example, like you get answered in 30 seconds or 1 minute. So it can help you to save your time also for the other OT questions. Then section B is 3 cases that are tested. And here again you have to understand the scenario, because 4 or 5 questions would be related with the scenario. And if you miss that scenario part, you don't able to analyze the situation. You are not able to highlight the issues into that scenario. So you won't be able to answer the 4 or 5 questions. And here, again, the good thing is that some of the part of the questions will be the theoretical and some of them will be numerical. So this is very important, and also you must understand that what are the 3 areas that the examiner can test from you, and these are basically from any of the section, but you get some idea if you look into the past comments by the examiner or the examiner reports if you read. So you might get some idea that what can be tested next time in the paper. So this is also again going to be in the same way it is going to be attempted as like the section A, but only the difference is that here you have to you have to analyze the situation which is given to you. Now, where exams are won, what is the reality about, what is the difference of the strong students and the weak students? What are the good side of the students and what are the bad side of the students? So this also has to be remembered by the students. First thing is that plan your answer before you write. And this tip is again for the section C. Okay, so first of all, you must in the rough paper which is given to you in the exam, you have to look into the sequence, like what you will explain first, second, third, and fourth. Then you have to use your scenario. You have to give a reference to the scenario whenever you're writing something. Don't write independently. Write in the context of the scenario. Write in the context of the situation which is given to you. Then don't describe what you have learned. Okay, so you have to evaluate, you have to apply the knowledge. Then give the specific recommendation relevant with the scenario again. Don't give the general recommendations. This is already we have talked about. And the weak students, what they do, they copy the theory, and that the examiner, the examiner penalize you if you just copy paste in the paper. So don't write the same theory, but you have to write in your own words. And then don't repeat the things. Whatever you have written before, so don't repeat it again. Then you must understand the context entirely. Okay? And then don't rewrite the calculations again and again. So these are the problems of the weak students. Now, what should be the winning formula for you guys to pass the paper? So first thing is read the requirement, understand the action verbs, understand the marks for each part of the question, and then allocate your time. For example, if it is of 2 marks, so how much time you will be going to allocate it. So this is the first thing. Second is you have to highlight the scenario facts. Must understand what are the good things, what are the bad things, what is the problem the company is facing, and what are the company thinking about the alternatives or the recommendations by the other management guys, or what the company is planning ahead, what are the budgets, or what are the forecasts the company is having. So you have to highlight it from the scenario. So scenario facts are very important. Third thing is that structure. Structure your headings per your requirement. Because don't start giving the answer straight away. So you have to put the heading first. For example, like ABC analysis or whatever. What is the requirement? In the exam. So as per the requirement, give the heading. Fourth thing is evaluate. As I mentioned to you, evaluate the numbers, evaluate the data which is given to you, then evaluate it or compare it with your benchmark or the comparator, and then give your verdict about that. And the last thing is conclusion, what the management has to do. So these are the 5 things: read, highlight, structure, evaluate, and conclusion. This is basically the area of the strong question, strong answer, by the way. Okay, now what the examiners love to see in your scripts, basically. So first thing is, as we have discussed, heading must be clear. It should be business focus, scenario focus, references of the scenarios. Whatever you are writing, give it to relate with the scenario. Okay, then analysis. Then your professional recommendations, and then whatever the recommendations you are giving, it should be logical. It should make sense to the examiner. Don't give any conclusion which is general or the vague. So it should be logical. It should be helping the management to get some results, or after your recommendation, the situation will improve. So this is the way you have to answer your question, particularly the section C. Then the time management, we must also know about it. Like for the section A, we have 30 marks for that, and we have 54 minutes, and the same 54 minutes are there for the section B. It's very easy to calculate because for every 1 mark, you have 1.8 minutes to answer the question. So if you are having 30 marks in the section A, so if you multiply it by 1.8, so you will be getting 54 minutes for the section A, and same it is for the 54 minutes for the section B, but you will be having more time for the section C because it is of 40 marks. So section C is, you can see here, you are having 40 marks. If you multiply by 1.8, you will be getting the answer, the minutes. So in total, you have 180 minutes to answer the question. So don't leave any question. Try to work out onto your time management, and you solve the question within the given time. Then the students who are failing in the paper, what they lack in. So we talk about this one in the slide. The first thing is that if any of the students is scoring less than 30 marks, so it means that he lacks in the technical knowledge. He don't understand the concept. Altogether he is missing out the concept. He is not ready for the exam. He don't understand the syllabus content, by the way. Or he has not completed the study text or complete the syllabus. If you are getting into the 30 to 40 marks range, so your practice has to be improved. So this is what the examiner is highlighting actually, and also based on my experience of more than 18 years. So I have analyzed the students, like those who are scoring, those who are falling in this range. So they are lacking into this one. Then you are getting 40 to 49. It means that you are lacking into the evaluation skills. You are not able to analyze the situation. You are not able to evaluate the situation. Your conclusions are weak. So your evaluation skills are missing. You are having a technical side knowledge, but you are not able to apply it into the real situation. So that is the examiner is highlighting that I am not going to make you pass, I am going to make you fail because you are not able to apply that knowledge into the scenario, the situation. And then 50 plus, those who pass the exam, they have the refined technique of attempting the paper. So this is where it makes a difference. So you should understand about application, analysis, and evaluation. Then what you can do, how you can overcome your problems or the issues if you are not able to, you have never practiced for the evaluation, you have never done the analysis, or you have never done the the conclusion side. So what you can do, so there are 4 weeks plan, that is of 1 month, what you can do to prepare for the exam. The first thing is that, first one is diagnose your problem. Like you try to attempt the paper, look at what you are missing out. Are you not able to understand the requirement? Are you not able to understand the scenario or the situations? So this is, you have to first of all diagnose your problem. Second is, in the week 2, what you can do, you have to practice 1 section C questions daily. You can practice it from the study hub, you can practice from your exam kit, whatever the exam kit you are using, whether it is a BPB or the Kaplan. So choose one source and then resource, and then you can start practicing it on a daily basis. Then the third thing is, the third week, what you can do, you can practice what you have practiced manually. Now you can put it onto the Excel side, on the spreadsheet. Okay, at least for every topic, for every section, if you're working on a long question, so try to work out onto the spreadsheet. And then the week 4, try to rehearse. It is a rehearsal basically. And what you can do, try to attempt the full book exam. Like we call this as a mock exam. And after attempting the mock exam, try to match your answer with the examiner's report. Open the examiner report. You can select the past paper questions from the examiner reports, and then match your answer with the examiner reports, and highlight what you are missing into that. Okay, how much closer you are getting to the examiner script, examiner answer, and are the differences or the variance is very high. So you have to do the rehearsal of this. So week by week plan that I have shared with you is that you have to diagnose your problem, rebuild it, practice it, particularly the section C, then calculate it, work out onto the spreadsheet, and the fourth one is do the rehearsal by attempting the mock paper. Okay, so basically my message to you guys based on our discussion today is that you have to not behave like a student. You are not just a student here when you are attempting the paper PM. You are here the part of the management, and you are going to analyze the situation, interpretations. You are going to do the using your judgments, and you're going to add value for the management or adding value for the business. So what they have to act on, what is your advice to make the situation improved. So this is a very important side that I wanted to highlight, and this is my clear message to you guys. Okay, so this was all about a small and brief session about why the students fail in the paper, what we can do, what are the expectations of the examiner you have, and if you have any questions, so please feel free to ask me.